A key scene in the 1998 movie 8 Men Out features White Sox owner Charlie Comiskey testifying for the prosecution and against his own players. The reason? Charlie Comiskey was told by his attorneys that he needed to control the investigation against his own team, and that the best way for him to control the investigation was to appear to be, in fact, leading the investigation against his team. Now, while on the witness stand, the prosecuting attorney asked Charlie Comiskey a number of questions, mainly around the idea of did he think that his players were actually guilty of, selling the World Series. Charlie Comiskey, in his unique, direct way, simply said, "I'll abide by the ruling of the court." When pressed whether he thought all of these rumors and things were at least suspicious, Charlie Comiskey, to the delight of the gallery, said, "They've been indicted by a criminal court. If that's not suspicious, I don't know what the heck is." I'm Steve Murray, and welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. This is the worst program on the internet, sports. The Michigan sign stealing scandal is not a Hollywood movie, but it could be. I mean, really, this has everything you need for a summer blockbuster, right? First of all, you have a blue blood program, University of Michigan, who's won more college football games than any school in history. 2, you have rivalries, right? Which is always at the center of any good college sports movie. There's Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan State. It's a border war. It's the Hatfields versus the McCoys. It's the rebels versus the Union Army. We have undercover operations and secret payments. We have people in disguises, high-tech spy gadgets, a secret third party who apparently has access to secret information, and of course, just enough incompetence to add the right amount of laughter and humor into what would be otherwise a dark and twisted tale. I'm always amazed when I see these crime stories on television and like these big scams primarily because I can never figure out how someone goes about and learns how to do these things. I mean, I know I could never really be a good criminal, and not because I'm a good guy or anything like that. It's just that I'm not smart enough to figure out how to do these things. And, well, it seems like Connor Stallions isn't either. You know who he is, right? The star of The Spy Who Knew Too Little, coming to a campus near you. By the way, Connor Stallions, or better yet, Captain Stallions, as he was known in the United States Marine Corps, best movie name ever. When this does come to the silver screen, you don't have to pump that up. That is just one quality name. Now, of course, the problem here is that if Michigan allegedly wanted to go ahead and pull off this type of caper, what they really needed is someone in charge who knew how to get things done. They needed a Joe Pesci in Casino. Unfortunately, what they got was a Joe Pesci in Home Alone. Joe Pesci in Casino, he knew the right people. He knew how to get things done. He had a good second story guy, someone who could bypass security alarms, and, of course, a qualified safecracker. Joe Pesci in Home Alone had the wet bandit, a guy more concerned with becoming famous as a criminal as he was about staying out of jail. There's a little connection there, don't you think? And really, Captain Stallion seems to be a case study in alleged criminal incompetence. Apparently, he bought the tickets under his own name and under his own Venmo account. Apparently, he doesn't know that cell phones work in two directions. You can watch somebody, and then, of course, someone can watch you. And also, apparently wasn't aware that college football games tend to be recorded from multiple angles. And if it's a big game, there are cameras everywhere. He's far too public. That was one of the big problems, right? Even if he did spend a whole $47 on a secret outfit that included a Central Michigan cap, a T-shirt, and some Groucho Marx sunglasses that may or may not have had some hidden cameras in, he was still very easy to find. And maybe the biggest mistake he made was just not hiring the right people. You remember when Paulie told Henry Hill in Goodfellas to watch out for Jimmy? Paulie said that, Jimmy was a good earner, but he was a bit wild. He took too many chances. I think Captain Stallions probably could have used some of that advice from Paulie, don't you? As I said before, I'm not smart enough to be a criminal, but if I was actually given the opportunity, I think I could have done a lot better job. I mean, really, first of all, everything goes on a prepaid debit card, right? The tickets go on one card, transportation goes on another card. Food, whatever, hot dogs, a soda at the game, all that stuff goes under different debit cards. All communications are going to be handled via burner accounts, right? You're going to get a phone. I have a phone. If we need to communicate, we're going to use that phone. That phone then gets destroyed following every single game. They cost $30. Of course, my spies are definitely going to be guys who are going to have really, like the Nicky Santoro seal of approval. That's what I'm looking for. Probably going to send about maybe 2 guys to a games and 2 guys who don't know each other, don't know they're at the games. Maybe say 1 at the 40, 1 at the 20. And this way they can they can go ahead and record the games without looking too suspicious by having their cell phone up for 3.5 hours every day. And most important, I am going to be incognito. I'm going to be hidden. All right. Even if I do have sideline passes and I have an official athletic department job, I am staying away from the coaches as much as I can. I'm off to the side, where the medical staff is or the trainers or whoever, one of the radio guys. I have no idea, right? Remember, I am running a criminal conspiracy or an alleged criminal conspiracy. The last thing I want people to do is know who the heck I am. I want to be a nobody. So what do you think? Now, really, what's going to happen is really anybody's guess. We're really in uncharted territory. The one thing we do know for sure is that, unlike in years past, the NCAA has, updated or changed the rules, saying that the head coach shall be responsible for any action taken by, his staff or players. So regardless of what Harbaugh may or may not have known, if one of his employees was in fact going to games for the sole purpose of stealing signals, he's responsible for that, even if for some weird reason he doesn't know. Now, it does seem that the NCAA has kind of changed their enforcement policies a little bit. 10 years ago or so, Michigan probably would have been facing a postseason ban, maybe even a national title being stripped should they get that far this season. Lately, though, it appears the NCAA, they want to still go after coaches, they want to still go after institutions, but they don't want to punish a player just because their coach is a dirtbag, for instance, or a alleged dirtbag. A good indication of this was what happened over in Tennessee. I think this was earlier this year with their former coach, Jeremy Pruitt. Apparently, Pruitt and his wife were paying players. Up to 5 figures they were paying players and giving them free hotel rooms and the like. Apparently, 110 or more hotel rooms. And once the investigation was done, Tennessee was hit with an $8 million fine and a loss of scholarships. There was no postseason ban. There were no records wiped out. So the university got hit. The players were, what they should have been, just going about their business. And I really love this Tennessee story for one other thing as well. If you ever wanted to know really what the difference is between, say, college football in the North and the South or wherever else, this is a great lesson here. Because here's one thing I had read, that Tennessee law actually prohibits the NCAA from imposing a postseason ban on its team. Yeah. If the NCAA tries to come after Tennessee and say, guess what, you can't go to the Rose Bowl or the Cotton Bowl or something, Tennessee state legislature, they're probably going to bring a suit against the NCAA. That's got to be unique. I've never heard of that before. I don't think that happens up here in Michigan. But I could be wrong. Who knows? And again, whatever happens after all this shakes out is anybody's guess. Personally, I do think this is most likely Harbaugh's last year at the University of Michigan. There's no secret he's been trying to get to the NFL on 2 or 3 different occasions. And maybe at this point, he's just fed up enough with the whole NCAA where he just says, guys, it's just not worth it anymore. Plus, his good buddy Mark Davis just recently fired his coach. So there is an NFL job waiting. And Harbaugh and the Davises go way back. Harbaugh actually began his coaching career in 2002 as a quarterbacks coach for the Raiders. So, what are you thinking? Is Connor Stalions at the center of this? Did it actually even happen? Do you think Harbaugh knew what was happening? What do you think should happen? Should Harbaugh be suspended? Should Michigan get, banned from the postseason? Let me know. Do me a favor, would you? Go ahead and just write down below. You can please go ahead and click the like button. Subscribe as well. This way we can always stay in touch. And also drop me a line. Post a comment below. Shoot me an email. Let's just keep in touch. Let me know what you think about this whole scenario. And of course, if you're still looking for even more bad online content, don't forget about our other program, Worst Program on the Internet, ... The Blues. I'm Steve Murray. Thanks again for joining me. We'll see you again next time. Aloha.